everyone. It's lovely to see you all on this. I don't know what it's like in Hertfordshire, but Bedfordshire is trying its hardest to be pleasant at the moment, but it's not really succeeding. So I hope it's lovely where you are. The session today will carry on till 12 o'clock. I don't overrun, that's dreadfully rude, so we will be out at 12 o'clock, or certainly I will finish the content by 12 o'clock. If people have questions and they want to spend 10 or 15 minutes after the session just kind of asking me some stuff, that's absolutely fine. I'm more than happy to hang around for a little while. Probably no later than 12:30, because otherwise I will be hungry, but I'm more than happy to hang around for a bit. Thank you very much to Ambition Broxbourne for hosting this session. Follow up on this session. Some of you already taken advantage of this, but if you are interested in a one-to-one digital marketing surgery, 45 minutes, we do those every month. We got them booked in the diary until June, I think now, haven't we, Helen?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want to kind of follow this up with a one-to-one with me, 45 minutes just going through anything about the digital marketing of your organization, you can book onto that. The next one is mid-March, I think, but you'll find it all.
One slot left for that one.
One slot left.
I'll have that slot, Helen. Thanks very much.
Grab it. So please do come, and you know, if lots of people show lots of interest, they might give me another one. Just saying, wink, wink. But it's an absolute pleasure to be here. I love doing these things, and it's lovely to see you all kind of. I say see you all, but you know what I mean, because it's weird and stuff. So we're going to be covering the very basics of search engine optimization today, just to give you a sense of what you can practically do on your websites to improve your performance on Google. This is not about technology. I will be at one point, just for 10 minutes or so, showing you Google Analytics, so you can get a sense of the high level stuff that you can get from the analytics programs, which are important to kind of get your head around and understand if you can. But really the practical things that you can do on your website and with your content just to make Google a little bit happier. So I'm just going to get my slides up so I can remember what I'm saying next. Okay, so super. I'm going to try and be as interactive as we can over the next couple of hours. We will have a little break. About 11 o'clock, I'll just get people for 5 minutes to stand up, stretch your legs, do something that is not sitting looking at a camera, because that's not good for you at all. So I will generally put a little break in there. So 11 o'clock, we'll have kind of 5 minutes break. But using the chat function, if you are able, I'm just going to change that because currently that's to, there we go, lovely. Just pop into, Jackie's arrived, here we go, boop, in we come. Pop into the chat function what you think, in a couple of words, it doesn't have to be a massive war and peace effort, what SEO, search engine optimization, means to you, what do you think it is? And I've got some dictionary definitions that I'll go through with you. I'll be using the chat function to do a couple of bits and pieces. Okay, so Joe's put appearing at the top on a Google search. Being visible to your ideal customers, like that, Jody. Yeah, absolutely. Any more for any more. Being seen on Google easily, visible on Google search, getting your business seen using the most relevant search terms for your business. Excellent. Appearing in searches when people use keywords. Nice. Okay, that is not a bad selection of, and they're all right. Every single one of those is absolutely right. But the dictionary definitions, the boring old dictionary definitions, I've got three. I'm just going to read through them because these are quite good ones, actually. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's the practice of increasing the quality and quantity of traffic to your website through organic search results. So when people search stuff, you appear. And it is the quality element of that, which goes back to one of those comments about your ideal customer. Having millions of people on your website is no use at all to you if none of them want to buy your stuff. So it is the quality of the people who are on your website are the ones who are most likely to purchase from you. SEO is the name given to the activity that attempts to improve search engine rankings. I do like that because it does put the word attempt in. You can do all sorts of stuff. It doesn't guarantee it. I'm not guaranteeing you page one, number one of Google today. I can guarantee, hopefully, that if you follow some of the practices that I suggest, you will improve your performance on search engines. And SEO involves making certain changes to your website design and content that makes your site more attractive to search engines. So, and it is little adjustments. In many cases, I will look at a website that someone's designed, and the structure is okay. They've done a good job, but it just needs a little bit extra. It's very rare I go into someone who's made a complete pig's ear of it. It's generally that there are tweaks, there are things they need to do, and the certain practices that need to happen to make you more Google friendly. And so those are the things that we're going to be talking about throughout the day today. And it's not a big deal. It's something that is well within your capabilities, I have no doubt. I'm going to show you a few. Yes, all right. Helen's just asked for those definitions. What those definitions are actually, because I don't memorize them, they're on the slides, Helen. So okay. You will get a PDF. I'll send Helen a PDF of all the slides that I'm using. You won't see all of the slides because that's boring. The slides are actually there more to remind me what to say next. Some of the slides I'll share with you, but you will get a PDF of all of the slides, including the links that I might find useful. So I'm going to show you some free to access tools on the internet that are going to help you with some of these things as well. I know when I spoke to Joy last week, there was one in particular, the web optimizer, which is quite interesting. Get rid of that. I think I can now close my participants tab so I can still see things a little bit better. Perfect. Okay. Right. So SEO, little bits and pieces to make Google happy. And it is about Google, to be perfectly honest with you. I normally do this as a quiz, but we don't have time today. But the 4 largest search engines, let's do the 5 largest search engines in the world. Unsurprisingly, at the top of that pile is Google. Google is the largest search engine in the world, and it's the one that people predominantly use. It is a source of great disappointment to Apple, is that when people buy an iPhone, generally the first thing they download is the Google Chrome app. Rather than using Safari. They hate that, to be honest, but there you go, tough beans, get a better search engine. But Google is the top. Now, this is the interesting thing, because people, when I say the top search engines in the world, they then start talking about Bing and Yahoo and Jeeves and places like that. Actually, the second largest search engine in the world after Google is YouTube, followed by Facebook, followed by Twitter, followed by Instagram. So the top 5 search engines in the world, only one of those is actually technically a search engine. In fact, Facebook is only a couple of percentage or tenths of a percentage point away from supplanting YouTube as the second largest search engine in the world. In fact, Facebook is the second most visited site in the world after Google. So when I'm talking about SEO, I am talking about search engine optimization today in terms of your website, but it does actually pay double on your social media. So when I talk about some of the specificity and keeping things, very specific later on, 79% of people do search up businesses in Facebook by using the search box in the top left-hand corner of Facebook. So your content on your social media needs to follow some of the same rules as we're talking about in terms of your website. So as much as we're focusing on websites today, have that kind of same principles filter into your social media, and you may find that your social posts are more discoverable as well in these absolutely major sites. Bing, Yahoo don't actually hit the top 10 because then you have messenger platforms and you have things like LinkedIn, etc. It's quite amazing. In fact, Bing, anybody know what Bing stands for? This isn't a quiz, I'm going to tell you. It stands for, but it's not Google. That's what Bing stands for. It doesn't, but it might as well. Because if you're not Google, you're nowhere, unfortunately. And I don't mind that, because Google is very good at what it does. And they occasionally pay me to deliver courses for them as well, which is even nicer. So I'm not going to say anything bad about them. Never bite the hand that feeds you. Right, okay, so back into chat for a second. Out of 10, at the moment, how do you rate your website's search engine optimization? See, is anyone, because no, you might think it's got 6 from Joe. Excellent. 5. 8 for Louise. Excellent. 2 for Claire. Got 4. So we've got a variety of answers there, which is absolutely fine. We can always improve it. The person's at 8, hopefully we can get that to 10 for you this afternoon or today. So the thing to ask is, firstly, how do you rate yourself? If you accept the fact that it is not as good as it could be, then you can make changes. The next thing to do is to ask yourself, do you have a plan? This is one of the things that I find, you know, about having a plan. Everyone has a plan for their business. Generally, when I do a session, when I used to do face-to-face sessions, I would ask, if I was doing SEO, ask for a raise of hands, who's got a plan for their business? And pretty much without exception, everyone's hand goes up, because if you haven't got a plan for your business, seriously. Yeah. But then I would say, who's got a plan for their website? Far fewer hands would go up, and you do need to have a plan for what your website, what you want your website to achieve. A lot of people think they just put up a website, they shove it out there, and everything's going to be hunky-dory. And no, you need to have a plan, because your website has a purpose within your business, whether that is to drive sales, whether that is to increase visibility, whether that is to increase credibility. Now, my website is not designed to be found in searches. My website, although it's reasonably SEO friendly, I don't want to be #1, page 1 of Google, because if I were, for digital marketing training, I would probably get more work and more inquiries than I could personally handle, because I'm just one person. So my website has been designed specifically to refer people to that I've contacted via email, that have contacted me via LinkedIn. In fact, LinkedIn is by far and away the most important network for me in my business. So what is the plan for the website? Mine is about credibility, about structure. Yours is potentially about raising visibility, or it could be about searches and generating sales. So you need to have an idea of what you're doing. So when you are creating pages, when you're creating structures, you can kind of have a sense of what you're trying to achieve with the website itself. The next thing is about the resources. Do you have the resources to do it? One of the most important resources is time. Do I have the time? Again, often it's small adjustments, small amendments you have to do, but these things you do have to sit, you have to create, you have to manage. So again, do you have the time, and how are you going to make the time to do it? Because it is an important part of your overall digital presence and the presence of your business. People expect websites these days. And how you feel about SEO overall. And obviously you guys are on this course today, so I hope you're feeling reasonably positive, because otherwise you'd be hiding under your covers and trying to avoid this as much as possible. Joy is literally hiding under her covers today. But, you know, it's, you know, you go head in the sand, you're not head in the sand, you're obviously really good about it. Sorry, Joy, but, you know, I think it's fabulous. I really do. You know, I'm just sitting at my dining room table. I've got this nice background. It's an absolute flipping mess behind me. I look professional because Zoom allows me to. It's great. But, you know, you're here because you want to do something about it. So you obviously feel, you know, that something needs to be done, but you're positive enough to want to take action, which is absolutely fantastic. So a couple of things to say. I'm going to get onto some more practical elements, but there's some things that we need to understand. I'm actually going to share this slide simply so you're not having to stare at my mug for too long, and I'll go through these elements with you. So I'm going to I've got unnecessary animations. I don't know why I do animations, they're stupid. So these are the kinds of things that have changed. I've been delivering digital marketing training since the beginning of 2012. So, you know, 9 years now, where the focus, the majority of what I've been training has been digital marketing. And certainly over the last 2 years since I've been working as self-employed, pretty much everything I'm training is digital marketing at the moment. I'm doing a bit more leadership and employability training at the moment, but mainly digital marketing. And it has changed hugely. When I started doing website development courses for Winter, I'm sure some of you are familiar with, the social media course with a half-hour session at the end of the website development course. Now that's what it was. That's just 9 years ago, where social media was kind of like, you know, it's a half-an-hour tag on at the end of your website course. And now I could quite happily do 2 to 3 days just on social media. So it has massively changed, as have websites. So some of the things to bear in mind is that user experience is something that Google measures. So this is how your customer navigates through your website, how easy it is, how engaging the content is. So they are wanting someone's journey through your web page to be simple, to be elegant, to be, you know, to be nice. One of the things that Google measures, I don't know how many of you have done this. So you search something on the internet, and up comes your 10, you know, your 10 results. You click into a website, you go in a few pages, go, nah, this isn't quite what I was looking for, and you just hit that back button until you get back to the original search. Google measures that. And if someone goes into your website and then goes straight back to the original search, it suggests actually that that website wasn't very good. And that user experience, because normally if it's a good website, you get what you want, you stop and you start a new search. You don't go back to the original one. So if that's happening frequently in your website, it suggests to Google that your user experience isn't very good, or the website isn't relevant, or you've got the wrong search terms, in which case you might find it starts sinking through the rankings. A very critical one is that your website is friendly on one of these things. So whatever website builder you're using, whether it's Wix or WordPress or Squarespace, most of these are pretty much automatically now mobile friendly, but it is imperative. Over 70% of searches are now done on mobile devices, and your mobile friendliness is actually a ranking factor for Google on mobile searches. So if your website isn't ticking all the boxes in terms of mobile friendly, you do need to do something about that. And you can actually just Google mobile friendly test. If you Google that, up pops a Google page. You put your website in and it will tell you whether it's mobile friendly or not, and give you suggestions about how you might be able to improve it if it isn't. This one is a change, but not one that I don't think is going to impact you directly. But around about 70% of internet searches now are done by speaking to your phone. So we are having conversations instead of the old search terms. We just put a keyword in. We're now picking up a phone and we're going, local pizzeria. Well, where's the closest restaurant to me that will open in 3 months' time? And we have conversations with our phones. Now, again, from the perspective of us creating content, there isn't too much we need to worry about that, but it has had a massive impact on Google's algorithm, which I will talk about in a moment, in terms of how they interact with searches that are being put out there. First and foremost, and this is where we are going to be concentrating the majority of our time today, is that content is a massive factor as far as Google is concerned in understanding your website. 40% of all of your search engine optimization is what you have written on the page of the website. I say we'll really clarify this later on, but your content is really at the center of it, and that's how you get Google to notice you and return you high in searches. They're looking for highly relevant pages, and there's a structural change you need to do to your website potentially that will facilitate this. It's very simple to do, but content is really at the heart of Google at the moment, because they want the pages that people find, the websites that people find, to be the most relevant to the search. The more relevant they are, you know, that number one top one, should they click on, they should need to go nowhere else. So they measure your content actually more aggressively than they measure an awful lot of the other things about page timings and links and all those kinds of things. So most of search engines, Google and Facebook, etc., are now really looking very, very hard at content as an indication of the quality of the website. Video, I will get onto video later, and I think those of you who had one-to-ones with me probably get used to me talking ad nauseum about the importance of video. But video on a website, a landing page, so the landing page is the first page someone visits, whether they've clicked on a link that you put on Facebook, or whether they've done a search and they've found your website. The landing page is the very, very first page they visit. Video on a landing page can increase sales conversion by over 80%. It's worth just bearing that one in mind. 80% increase in sales conversion for video on a landing page. And video, which we will have a little chat about later on, is a very important thing, not just for your website, for your social media as well, because it's an obsession currently with search engines and social networks, because video content is the stuff that people care about. Right, so next you've got Google algorithm, which is where a little bit of voice search is coming. Google changed their algorithm, did a big change. They're changing their algorithm about 700 times a year. Now, they've got people working on their little algorithm that ranks pages all the time, but they do these big updates every so often. And they used to be named after animals. There was penguin and there was hummingbird. But the last one, which was end of 2019, it was called BERT. And BERT stands for bidirectional encoder bidirectional encoder representations from transformers. Now, when I hear transformers, I think about the kids, you know, the toys that change from robots into cars and stuff. I have no idea what that means, by the way. I just call it BERT. I do know how it works, though. What used to happen is that Google would would only be able to look at your search query in a linear fashion. So if you typed a phrase in, it would start at the left-hand side and would compare everything in sequence. What BERT allows them to do is to take the last thing you've typed to be compared with the first thing you've typed, which, or the third thing you typed to be compared to the second thing that you typed. And as much as I don't really get apparently why that is better, it means that they can get greater context, because sometimes the things we type in a linear way don't provide the right context. It apparently affects only 10% of searches, and it doesn't make any difference. You still just need to write good quality specific content. But these algorithms are changing all the time. What we need to do is just to provide good, well-structured content. But that's BERT, bidirectional encoded representations from transformers. There you go. The other one is EAT. This is a new one. I like this. But they're looking for expert, authority, and trust, which is great, because when I talk about content marketing, I have my 5 pillars of content marketing, which are inform, educate, entertain, BBC's mantra, with relevance and value to drive authority, credibility, and trust. And the fact that obviously Google have entirely stolen this from me, because expert, authority, and trust is the same as, authority, credibility, and trust. And they've obviously seen one of my courses and decided to steal all of my cleverness to put into their algorithm. But they're looking for people who are experts in their field. They're looking for people who have authority, because they're regularly providing good quality information, and that are trusted, because trust gets you sales. I'm just going to close the door because the cat came in briefly. The cat never comes in. Over 10 months of doing courses, the cat has never come in. She's just walked in, opened the door, put a draft on me, because and then she's like a typical cat, looked at me and went, "I'm off again," and just went straight back out again. Cats. I do like cats. Dogs are better, aren't they, Louise? And finally, HD, there he is. Just to reiterate my point. Oh, he's a beautiful boy. Is HTTPS. Now, HTTPS, some of you may well be familiar with it. I'm just going to stop sharing that slide and show you what I mean. So I'm going to go to share. This is important because this is actually a ranking factor. So if you don't know what this is, best to find out. I'm going to share that. So we're going to look at this site later on, but up here we've got lsigraph.com, and you can see that there is a little lock. I'll just, you can't zoom into this bit. That means it's secure, and that's what HTTPS is. If I double click on this, you can see now Hypertext Transfer Protocol is HTTP. Don't write that down, you don't need to know it. But HTTP without the S is not secure. That's just a bog standard domain name. If you buy yourself an SSL certificate, that's what it's called, which costs me, for my website, it's £50 a year. That secures your website. So what the S in HTTPS stands for is secure. So it's Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. And essentially what this does, it means that any information traveling between your website and your customer's device is encrypted. So that means that if it is intercepted by a nefarious human being, there's nothing they can do with it, because it's going to be gibberish. Also, it means that people can't divert that link to a fake website, because what some, let's say, or more nefarious people do is they create a mirror website. And when you visit a website, they will take you from the website you were visiting to their fake website to nick your details. If you have HTTPS, that can't happen. So it is securing your relationship really with your customer, and enough people recognize that symbol for it to make a difference. In fact, retail websites see a 14% increase in sales if they have a secure website. So it's an important thing to look into. You would either get that from the company that hosts your website, or the people you bought the domain, your www.mybusiness.co.uk from. If you don't have one, and it's easy enough, open up your website and you'll see whether there's the little lock here. If you don't have one, get one, because it is a ranking factor. Back in 2018, all of the big boys got together. So Google, Bing, Yahoo, Apple got together and said, actually, we want our customers' journey on our sites to be as secure as possible. So if people are not secure, their websites will not rank as highly as someone whose website is secure. So quite happy to discuss that a little bit further in a kind of a Q&A at the end if you want to. But your SSL certificate from your host or the person you bought the domain from that is quite imperative for your website, really, for credibility in terms of your customers, but also in terms of ranking well with any of the networks, not just Google. This is a kind of a bipartisan thing where they went, you know what, this is something we all have to do. So it has changed quite significantly. So how are we doing for time? Perfect. Right. I'm very quickly going to be talking about search engine marketing, very quickly, because today is about search engine optimization, which is about, you know, getting yourself onto the organic rankings, so you're top of Google. Search engine marketing is when you pay for it. And I will talk very quickly about it because part of it is, again, quality and content. So it kind of hopefully highlights the fact that Google is focusing quite very much on your content. In as much as search engine marketing, that is your pay-per-click, that is the 3 or 4 adverts that appear at the top of the search result, or the 3 that appear at the bottom. So you'll have between 6 and 7 adverts on a search. This is pay-per-click. So what you do is you go in and you say, I want to bid on some keywords. So for instance, for me, digital marketing training. I would say, right, Google, if someone searches digital marketing training, I'm prepared to pay you to be one of the adverts that appears at the top of the screen. And you generally bid on the keyword, and there'll be a volume. So it'll say, on average, people will pay 50p on a keyword. And I might say, all right, well, I want to beat that. I'm prepared to pay £1 for every click through to my website. So if someone pays 50p for a keyword, and I pay £1, traditionally I'd be number 1 advert and they'd be number 2 because I'm prepared to pay more. Now that is still very much the case, but Google now has what's called a quality score, came in about 2 years ago. So when you put an advert out there, and pay-per-click advertising is very powerful. It is, if you have the budget and you've got something that is going to be, that people are going to be directly searching for, it is, you know, it's worth a little bit of investment. You want your SEO to work best first because that doesn't cost you any money. But they have this thing called the quality score. So what they do is they have a look at the keywords that you bid on. They compare those keywords to the advert you put up to make sure they match. And then the link that they click on to get through to your website, they follow that link, go to the web page, and they will then check that that web page is good quality, that it loads fast, that the keywords that you put into the advert are represented properly on the page, you know, that it isn't spammy. And if your landing page is really good and high quality, you can actually score higher than someone who's paying more money than you for the advert. So it's just to reiterate the fact that content is really important to Google right now. They want that quality. And if you don't have the quality, you don't get the results. I'll give you a quick story. I had a one-to-one with a guy when I was working at Winter who had spent £2,500 on pay-per-click advertising. So the advert was working. It's called pay-per-click because you only pay when someone clicks on the advert. So if no one clicks on your advert, you don't spend any money. If your advert's rubbish, fine, you don't spend any money. But his advert had worked because £2,500 worth of people had clicked on the advert to go through to the web page, but he had no sales conversion from it. And his question was, why? Now, as much as I know very high level stuff about PPC, I am not a PPC expert. I don't claim to be a PPC expert, but I know enough. But it was very evident very quickly why he had wasted all of his money. And it was nothing to do with Google's pay-per-click service. It was to do with the page that he sent people to. The landing page, someone excited about the advert, excited enough about an advert to click on a link to go through a web page. The web page said this, and this is no word of a lie. If you'd like to learn more about my products, give me a call. Would you give him a call? No. Because we expect to land on a page that gives us the information. So, you know, the quality of his page, the content of his page was the problem. Nothing to do with Google. They did exactly what he paid them to do. It's not their fault that his page was pants. There's a great quote from a marketer called John Loomed. He said, don't blame Facebook if no one likes or shares your posts. If you're not getting likes, it's because your content sucks. Face it. You know, it's just basically, if your content's rubbish, why on earth should anybody care? And that's a prime example of someone who wasted nearly £3,000 because their landing page basically said, give us a call, No, you get a list of everything that that person's going to get. You say, these are all the values and the benefits you're going to get from interacting with me. This is the process. Here's the buy now button. Give me your cash. Because if someone's clicked on your advert, they're ready to buy. And if you don't put them in a place where they can buy from you, they're just going to go to someone else and you've wasted a load of money. Content is everything, ultimately. Awesome. Okay. Lovely. So fingers on buzzers, please, because we are going to do a quick chat thing. So in your view, if you visit, I'm going to do this, and I know I don't like to be negative, but people generally come up with far more good negative results for this one rather than positive ones. If you visit a website, what makes you think this is a bad website? Just type into chat now the things you think are bad about a website. It's far harder for people to come up with good stuff. So I'll start with the bad stuff. I say normally I do this over a 6-hour period, so it's very much condensed. No contact details. Yep. No pictures. Someone who likes images. Images are important from an SEO perspective as well. Reviews, absolutely. Yeah. Not appealing to the eye and engaging. So there's a design thing there. Too much text. We will be talking about that, I guarantee you. So there is a way of making sure your text is appealing. But yeah, absolutely. Too much text is definitely. Here's a little stat for you. People read 25% slower on the internet than they do on print. So if you've got too much text on a web page, it will automatically put people off because they read slower. Not mobile friendly, absolutely not unique. Interesting. So you want something that's branding to stand out from the crowd, which I think is great. Yeah. You want your voice. No reference to their social media links. Yeah, something I often speak to people about. Where are your social media buttons? Not up to date. That is critical as well. Thanks, Joe, for that one. Google hates websites that don't change. If your website, doesn't matter how glorious and gorgeous your website looks, if it hasn't changed in the last 6 months, it will be on page 406 because they want stuff. And we'll talk about how you hack that in a minute. Just too much copy. Again, it's no harm in having lots of words on a website. Actually, it's how you structure that. It's big blocks of text that will put people up. In fact, text is important for a search page, which I'll kind of clarify in a moment. Okay, yes, these are things that people don't like, and these are things that are very easy to fix. So some of the things that we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about your website. So your website, if I'm not a football fan, but I will use a piece of football terminology. Your website is a game of two halves, essentially. There are the people who approach your website who know it exists, and there's the people who are looking for what you have. So they don't know you exist, and they're putting a search. So there is part of your website which is about navigation, which is not about search. The thing to get and understand about Google is it does not rank your website. Your website is not #1 in Google. It's the individual pages of the website that are ranked against their relevance to the search term that someone has put in. So there are pages of your website which will never appear in searches, and that is fine because that is not their purpose. But there are pages that you do want to appear in searches, and I'll demonstrate that on my website in a moment. So there are people who you give your business card to who have your web address, and they go www.yourbusiness.co.uk into the browser, they hit go and they get your homepage. There's the people who see a post on Facebook, they click on a link, they'll go to your website like a products and services page, for instance. So those people know you exist already. You have basically given them access to your website. They know you're there, they're looking for you, they're on the top of your website, and then they need to navigate down from kind of the top down. And those people want pages to help them navigate. So I'm going to clarify this kind of in an example at the moment. But there are people out there who are just putting digital marketing trainer in, or dog first aid in, or compliance training, or beauty therapy, or whatever it might be, life coaching, try to remember gymnastics training, try to remember some of the people's businesses. From people I've met previously. They put that in, and they are the ones that need to find a page that is searchable. So there are pages on your website that are never going to appear in a search, but are important in terms of establishing your credibility or just helping people move through the website. But there are those pages that you want people to find in a search. And it's important when you audit your website to appreciate which are searchable pages, which are not. And I'm hopefully going to illustrate this with just seeing a couple of things in chat. Excellent. that was from the previous thing. So I'm going to go to share screen again. I'm going to go over to Google. I'm going to go share, and I'm going to hit. Now, remember, my website is not necessarily, like I said there, to be found in searches, but it is structured in an SEO fashion. Now, up here, we've got your navigation pages. So these top level pages are not designed to be found in searches. That means someone's come to my homepage and they can make a choice about how they navigate through the website. So they can contact me directly, they can find out about me. I've even got, by the way, very important at the moment, everybody, for your social media and your websites, to have something on your social media or your website that talks about your COVID-19 strategy, about how you keep yourself and your customers safe if you're face-to-face. Around about 26% of people are expecting to see that on social networks and websites now when they visit it. So, I mean, I do remote training. It's very safe. Basically, the only virus you're going to get from me is a computer one. But it is an important thing to have on your website and as part of your social media, just so people feel comfortable about dealing with this. So 26, and this was about 3 or 4 months ago that this statistic is from. I'd imagine that has gone up since, but about 4 months ago, I read a report about 2021 marketing trends. And the research they did said that over a quarter of people are expecting to see some form of COVID policy in organisations that they're dealing with, particularly ones they might visit physically, and say some of you may well be opening that up soon, hopefully. Services, with my list of my services, contact me recommendations. So if someone is on my homepage, they can just go and make choices about where they want to go. But these pages themselves are generally quite generic. They're not about specific products, so they're not going to appear in searches. And I'll kind of illustrate what I mean. Over here, I've got my services page. So I have been redeveloping my website recently, so please, it is a work in progress at the moment. So I click on this and go to my services page. That's my internet. That is not how slow and awful my website is. I hope it isn't anyway. There we go. On here, my services page, so someone goes to my homepage, they www.michael.co.uk, they come to my homepage and they want to see what I'm up to, and they go to this page here, and they can see that these are the courses that I'm generally covering at the moment. So digital marketing, leadership, employability training, and they can click through to specific pages. Now, this is a great page in terms of letting people know what I'm up to. However, this page is rubbish for search engine optimization because Google is after relevance. So I have got 4 different courses or 4 different product services on this page, which you may well have. You know, we offer more than one thing. So does something come in? Can't see the services page. Can you see it now? Are we on the services page? Can you see my web page at the moment? I'm scrolling through it. No. Oh, okay. Let me stop sharing. And I'll go back and reshare. That's weird. How's that? Can we see it now? Are you on a web page? Got chat? No. Weird. Okay, bear with me a moment. Let me just do this. Hold on a second. And hopefully, it means I'm going to have to look away from you at the moment a little while, so I'll stop sharing. That is very odd. I'm going to go to screen 2. Okay. Now, can you see my web page? Am I sharing this? What are you seeing? This is really weird. What is going on here? Still a black screen. Well, that is just a pain in the bottom. That really is. Okay, right. Done out of vec. That's share screen. Okay, optimize video click. There's screen 2. Right, I'll go share here. You should now be able to see my, can you see my screen at the moment?
It says it started screen sharing, but we can't see anything. It's weird. Could do before.
Very weird. Were you seeing my slides earlier on when I was sharing them?
Yeah.
Okay. Just going to take that down entirely. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Sorry about this, ladies and gents. This has not happened. Zoom is normally ridiculously reliable for things like this. I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm going to open up Google again. You can, yeah, and I will restart this. So I'm just going to do that. I say Zoom is massively reliable with these kinds of things, but it's all of you. Sometimes you have one person who can't see it because their internet's shocking. But right, let's have a little another go here. So I'm going to get me in. There's me there. And there's my website, and I'll go to my services page again. I will go to Zoom. I will hit the share screen button. So I'm narrating this so you don't think I've just fallen asleep. It's one of the things, little tip, if you're going to do online training, if you are doing something on a screen, narrate what you're doing, because otherwise people do think you've fallen asleep. How's that? Are we seeing anything now?
Yes.
Yes. Very odd. Lovely. So there was me just talking to myself and you're going, eh. Right, okay, so here is my services page. And as you can see, there are 4 things on it: digital marketing, leadership, employability, training, and public speaking, the 4 areas that I'm delivering at the moment. So this page from a navigation perspective is great. Someone goes to my homepage, they go to my services, and they can see the different courses that I deliver, and they get immediately an impression of what I do. However, Google is looking for relevance, and what I've got on there is 4 different courses. So if someone doesn't know I exist and they are searching for leadership and management courses, for instance, Google will look at this page and go, well, leadership and management is mentioned on it, but so is digital marketing, so is employability, and so is training and public speaking courses. So actually, this page is only 25% relevant to that search term because it talks about 3 other things. Does that make sense? Yeah. Those of you, you can go, excellent. So this page will be on page 6 potentially because there is some relevance on it, but just not enough. So if we've got a products and services page that talks about a number of different products and services, they need their own page. So for instance, if I click here, this takes people through to, hopefully you can still see this, the page that I have written on digital marketing specifically. I've got another page up here that if you go leadership and management courses. So this page is just about effective leadership and management and leadership managed courses. So if someone searches leadership and management courses, Google can go, do you know what? Got a page for that because it is absolutely specific, it's highly relevant, and it is more likely to be provided in searches. So this is one of the first things that we need to do when we audit our websites. If you have a products and services page that lists what we do, that's fine. That page is great. It's a perfect navigation page, but we need to give each of those different products and services their own space. Otherwise, what we get is, we're on page 6. It's just not specific enough. It does require a little bit of additional work. Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, it is going to help Google understand more about your website and present your content to people who are interested in it. So that specificity is really important. Now, I'll go through kind of structure in a moment as well to kind of to help. But generally, for a good SEO page, for a good page for SEO, you need 300 words minimum on it. Now, what I would recommend is those of you who, if you use a WordPress website, for instance, download the free plugin for Yoast, Y-O-A-S-T. Yoast is a search engine optimization tool which will tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong on your page. It's quite good, and the free version will give you plenty of information. And it's always saying, it says, there aren't quite enough words on this page, actually. So for your specific pages, you want to have at least 300 words. And we'll talk about keywords and how keywords work in a moment, because that works quite sensibly and organically now. But you need about 300 words. But again, some of you don't like lots of text. Absolutely, there is a structural way of putting your page together, which I'll go through with you later on. Anyway, that will break up that text to make it easier for people to engage with. There's certain things that Google want you to do. Essentially, I'm going to go through what those certain things are on your page. Part of it's to do with images, and we will talk a little bit about video as well. But we can see here now we've got a page that is just about remote management. So if someone hopefully searches, like I said, my page is my website is not necessarily about people finding courses, because I work for other people. I don't provide my own stuff, or I'm not anymore, because now I don't need to. Thankfully, people are paying me to do training for them. I have to go out and do all the hard work myself. So specific pages, you really need each of the individual services or products you do to have their own space to live and breathe, for Google to understand that this is what you provide as a business. So when someone searches for it, they can then present that to that person in a search by going, actually, that page is absolutely relevant. Brilliant. It does require a little bit of additional work, but at the same time, it does improve the ranking and presence of your website. But also, when you are promoting those particular services, you have a page to take people to. So when you're talking on Facebook, for instance, about the courses that I do, the home gymnastics for children, just for Brenda there. If you said on your Facebook page, this is how you can do, gymnastics. You might think you need loads of space for gymnastics, but actually you can do it in your own home, and it's great fun. Here's a link, takes them straight to a page. They click on it, goes to a page that talks just about how to do gymnastics for children in your front room. And they're not having to do any more work. Whereas if you send someone to a generic page like this, they're then having to find it. So, if it is, for instance, training and public speaking courses, they've got to get through a load of stuff that isn't relevant before they find what they want. But if I'm promoting training and public speaking courses, I can send people directly to a page that talks about the training that I provide. And they're immediately in the right place. They're immediately comfortable. They're immediately able to go, brilliant, okay, get all of that. And then for me, it's get in touch. If they want to do that, or they want to arrange for that to happen. So that is a really important consideration. When you look at your website, look at your products and services, and think about how you can create pages for each of those specifically. So they have their own space, they have their own room to breathe, and Google can then recognize what your website is all about and present those in searches. So any questions on that at the moment? Is that clear? If it is not clear, tell me and I'll say it in a different way. That's kind of what I'm paid for. That's no problem. If you actually have a little look at the bottom, they've recently moved this, but there is a reactions tab at the bottom of your screen now, and it has a tick, a green tick. It has a red cross. It has a go slow or go fast. Raise hand. So if you've got a question, please hit the raise hand button. Oh my goodness, they have removed the most important one. Because there's a wave, there's a thumbs up, there's a crying with laughter, there's a wow one, there's a heart, and there's a celebrate. Carl's got his thumbs up, nice. But they've removed the most important one. The most important one was the cup of tea icon that people could click on if they wanted a break. Brenda, you have your hand up. Is that a test, or do you have a question?
No, I hit the wrong button.
All right, okay. I'm going to have to complain vociferously to Zoom about the removal of the cup of tea button. I'm very sad about that. They had an update last week. It's the first time I've looked at the reaction buttons because I haven't had to use them or mention them before. Awesome. Okay. I will just, there we go. Oh, no. Why do I go to do this though? But I can still, no. All right. How do I clear these now? Because there used to be a button where you could clear people's things out and you can't do it anymore. Right, well, it's a nice addition, but that's not great. Why am I doing that? Okay, anyway, if you have any questions, raise hands, that's fine. If you've got your hand raised, you need to unraise it because, oh, I can get you to lower your hand. That's where I do it. Okay. Perfect, all right. And Carlton, you've got a little sad cross. You can take that one off if you like. Hopefully you're happy. Right, so that specificity is really important. So when you're structuring your website, you've got those pages which are all about, navigation, introducing people to your services, which are nice. They're important, those top level ones. Underneath those, you've got those more specific places that people go to. Carlton's on a roll now. He's trying all of these buttons. These specific ones are specifically for searches. They are important ones to do. And there is still this idea of keywords. So in fact, rather than getting on to the next section, which is look at keywords and talk about keywords, it is 5 to 11. Okay, so I promised you a quick break. I think I've kind of got an organic place to stop now, because the next thing we're talking about is into your keywords. We'll spend probably about 15-20 minutes on this because it's important, and I've got a couple of free sites for you to look at, which I'm now going to have to get back up because I had to close down my Google. So it'd be good 5 minutes for me to get myself back on track. So if you take 5 minutes, I'm seeing 10:57 here. Okay, so I will switch off my microphone and my screen. When the 5 minutes is up, I will switch them back on again, which is an indication that I'm ready to go. So I'll wait for people just to give me the thumbs up that they're ready as well. Don't sit down, don't answer emails, get up, stretch your legs, do some star jumps, stroke a pet, whatever you do, but get yourself away from this screen, or I say duck further under the covers, whatever you want to do, it's entirely up to you. But do something that isn't looking at your device for 5 minutes. It's important that you do that for your physical well-being as well as your mental well-being. I will give you 5 minutes, which means we're back at 3 minutes past 11. I say I'll switch my screen back on when we're ready to go. But I'll see you back here in 5. If you think of any questions in the interim, please just pop them in the chat or ask them. That's fine. But I'll see you in 5. Can't remember. There's a film. What is it? I'm back.
Terminator, I think it's I'll Be Back. Terminator.
No, there's I'll Be Back, but no, that's not the one. That's not the one I'm
okay.
thinking of, actually. There is that I'm back. Oh, I know. I watched it. It's Independence Day.
Oh, yeah, that was Will Smith,
Yes,
right?
Randy Quaid's character as he's driving his plane up. I'm back. Hello, boys. I'm back. That was it. We watched that recently, just for a bit of fun, because it's a stupid fun film.
I think it came out around 96, didn't it? Was it 96? Yes. Yeah, something like yeah, if I remember.
I saw that in the cinema.
Yeah, me too.
I'm one of the generation that saw Star Wars in the cinema.
Oh, I missed that one, but that must have been nice.
Yeah, Louis thumbs up. Oh yeah, when I was 6 years old, went to see Star Wars at the old Granada Theatre in Bedford. The Granada Cinema in Bedford was the second largest screen in the country. It was massive. And I saw Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, the Indiana Jones films, Aliens, although I was 14 and shouldn't really have been to see it, but I did, on this massive, beautiful screen. It's now a Morrison's.
Oh, no, yeah. I was going to say, but it's not very popular nowadays.
No, it's such a shame. It was a beautiful, beautiful
it really is a shame.
But anyway, sorry?
We had similar in Walthamstow, the Granada cinema in Walthamstow. Fantastic. It's just derelict now.
It's such a shame, but there we go. I can't wait to get back to the cinema, actually. That's something I have missed. I love going to the cinema. Anyway, let us crack on. I will just there we go. Lovely. And that super. Perfect. So there was something in chat. Just going to check chat to make sure the task we had. Was it this time? Was it really, Helen? Oh, wow. Helen is this time today, last year, I was at the Spotlights in Broxbourne doing Google Digital Garage event for Ambition Broxbourne. Wow. Gosh, I can't believe that's a year ago. Isn't it just weird? Holy cow. And I had to rush straight to London afterwards for a meeting. Yeah, I remember that. Goodness. Oh, and Rookie was there with the macaroons. I remember Rookie's macaroons. Rookie's macaroons were, I don't normally like macaroons, but these were proper lovely macaroons. Anyway, enough of that. So I want to get back to doing that kind of stuff. So I don't mind this webinar stuff, but I'm actually on the 12th. I've been asked by BT, because I do some work for BT Skills for Life program. They are doing their Elite Business Expo on the 12th of March, which is a virtual conference. So I've got to go to London to stand on a stage in front of 200 people who are not there, and do it, creating an e-shop thing for 45 minutes. It's going to be so cool, but it's going to be very weird to be on a massive stage in front of a camera and no one there at all. So it's a very weird life we live at the moment, but it's cool. I love it. Okay, so let's get rid of that and let's get back to it. So before I get on to, I'll talk keywords and I'll get on to a little bit on structure. So keywords are still important. They're not important in the same way they were 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it would be very, very specific keywords. And what you would do is you would kind of put loads of those keywords into the administration of the website, and then you'd seed as many of them through the content as possible to be searchable. And that's not the way it works anymore. Keywords are important, but they work in a slightly different way than they did. In fact, repeating the same keyword over and over and over again in your copy is something that is probably going to see you vanquished to page 406. But keywords or a focus for the page is very important. So the searchable pages, when you are doing so, for instance, if it's digital marketing training, now my focus keyword for that is obviously digital marketing training. That is, it's a phrase or a word, it doesn't matter. So that's my focus, and that's what I'm building my page around. And what Google is looking for is for that keyword to be present in the text, but also to have related keywords and synonyms. And I'll kind of clarify that in a moment, because what Google does, it has a very specific method for moving through your page. And so I'm going to demonstrate that in a moment on my web page. And it has a very specific way of looking for key information on that web page. And it uses a thing called semantic closeness. Now, you don't worry about it, because I don't know what it means either, but I know what it does. Essentially, Google has a map of all the words it knows in the English language or whatever language, because Google speaks about 150 different languages, but for us, the English language. So it's got a map of all the words in the English language, and it measures how close they are to each other. So for instance, this is for Helen's benefit, let's say we talk about ballroom dancing, for instance, because Helen does lots of ballroom dancing. And it's got many, many awards and many qualifications. So you have ballroom dancing in the middle there. And a very closely related word to that would be foxtrot, or American smooth, or tango, or samba, or I'm running out of the things I can remember, because dancing, I'm 6'2" and have size 12 feet. Dancing was never something that happened naturally for me. When I did theatre, I always played the bad guys in shows, because bad guys don't have to dance, just have to be mean and unpleasant. And I'm good at that. But those words are very closely linked to each other. So if you're talking about ballroom dancing, visit, let's say the page, the focus keyword is ballroom dancing classes, for instance. Google goes to that title, and that's the first thing that Google looks at, is the title of the page to understand what it's about. So if it says, thank you very much, Helen. We got jive, waltz, quick step, cha-cha-cha, and a rumba. You've got to roll your R on rumba, haven't you? But Google will look at the page and see ballroom dancing. It will get that title. It will go, well, all right, it's a good bet that this page is about ballroom dancing. Okay. And then what it will do is it will start looking at the other words on the page. And if it sees things that are closely related, like rumba and jive and things like that, it can see that those words are very closely related to ballroom dancing. So it helps it kind of go, do you know what? This is probably about ballroom dancing, because there's lots of words on that page that are similar to or related to ballroom dancing. If I mentioned the word, I don't know, let's say vodka, I don't know why that sprang to mind. As far as ballroom dancing is concerned, vodka, I mean, I don't know what happens after ballroom dancing classes, whether vodka is a part of what happens. But in terms of Google, vodka, from as far as semantic closeness is concerned, is miles and miles and miles away from ballroom dancing. So it will ignore that one entirely. So when we're creating our content, what we're looking for is not only to have that focus keyword, ballroom dancing, but also loads of words that are similar to, related to, synonyms for, to be on that page, because Google is intelligent enough to say, hold it a sec, yeah, this one's related, that one's good, I get this one, fine, and they can build a picture of that page through the words that you're using. I say, I'll show you the structure in a minute that your page should kind of follow. A searchable page should follow a specific structure, and there are certain coding things, and I say coding in inverted commas because basically you're just selecting a drop down, you're not writing any code yourself, that you need to do to help Google understand a little bit more about what's going on. But that's important, this semantic closeness, this idea that when you're writing a piece of searchable content, you try to keep it in a theme and make sure you're using lots of words that are related to that theme. And I'll show you a free platform in a moment that can help you with that. You know, help you understand what some of those related keywords are. Generally, you would do this organically. If you're writing about one thing, you will, because you're the expert, because you know your thing, you will probably be working these things in fairly organically anyway. But it's a good idea to, you know, have a look at some of these models and tools to see that you are actually doing what you need to do. So I am going to share a screen, fingers crossed that it shares. Where are we? There's Google. So let's share this one. So hopefully you can see this. Yes, good. I'm getting a nod. That's good, because makes me sad. Right. So this is a blog that I wrote as a summary of my 2020 that I wrote a couple of weeks ago. When was it? 5th of January. That has an accompanying video. We'll talk video a little bit later on. But this is a blog. Blogs are fantastic. You should be writing blogs on your website. I will talk more about blogs in a moment, but they are very, very good for search engine optimization because they can be even more specific than your product pages. But I've got this review of 2020. It's webcams and webinars 2020 review, and that is my focus keyword. I'm building this around webcams and webinars. This is the title of the article, title of the page, which is called an H1, heading 1. You don't need to worry about that at all. When you type a title in for your into your website builder, it automatically becomes an H1. There is nothing that you need to do. But this is the first thing that Google will look at to get a sense of what the page is about. So it's important that your title contains whatever word you're hoping people to find you for, whether that is pet first aid, whether that is acrylic nail doing stuff. Sorry, Carlton. That's as far as as articulate as I can be when it's talking about beauty therapy. Because like I said to you the other day when I met you, you can't improve upon perfection. Anyway, my nails are lovely. But I won't tell you what had just happened to Carlton. He'd been experimenting when we spoke last week. But webcams and webinars is exactly what I want to be found for. Now, the way you then start structuring the page is you need 300 words of text minimum. For a blog, you need between 700 and 1,000 actually. But for a normal searchable page, you're looking at about 300 words. Now, you don't want blocks of text. We've highlighted that already. It's the kinds of things that people don't like on websites. A couple of you mentioned that. So you need text because Google needs to read text to understand the page. So what you need to do is to start breaking that text up. So a well put together page will have a good clear title that says what the page is about for search. Then you have text followed by a subtitle, text, subtitle, text, subtitle. I'm actually in my my editor now, so that's why we're getting these boxes over. Subtitle, text, subtitle, text. It breaks the text up into easy to manage chunks, which means it's not overwhelming, and people who are scanning through the content can take a lead from the subtitles in terms of whether that next section is going to be relevant to them. So clear subtitles and then being broken down like this is really important. The thing is that Google looks at your title first, and then it looks at your subtitles, because a subtitle would generally contain relevant information. The thing is that you need to tell Google it's a subtitle. And you do that through coding, and this will depend on your web builder. I'm on WordPress, and I have a builder called Beaver Builder. As you can see up here, this little beaver, which is a template that I built my website on. I'm just going to edit this little bit of text here to show you what I mean. I need to move you over here. So hopefully you can see this little box. I will move it to the center, and I can move you back over there. Here's the text. This is where I add and remove stuff. So I can kind of like, I'm not going to publish this. You see, I'm adding text to my block here. You can see it happening on the page over here in real time as well. Perfect. So seriously, not going to be publishing this. And I'm just going to do this for a second. So you can I just get rid of that paragraph? Here we go. So if we had a look here as normal human beings, we can tell that this is a subtitle here because it's on its own, it's a statement, and it is between two paragraphs. We know that that is a subtitle. Currently, Google doesn't. And we want to tell Google that our subtitles are subtitles because they generally contain key information that's important. So if I highlight this subtitle, and over here, it'll depend, I'll make it bigger again so you can see. It will depend on what it's called, depending on your builder, but over here, we've got a paragraph button. It could be called header. But if you click here, you can see I've got heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5, heading 6. And if I select heading 2, it has now turned that into a subtitle that Google can recognize just by selecting it and hitting that button. I'm just going to minimize that now so you can see it. So now it will make that subtitle stand out immediately. This depends on your website builder, how subtitles look, but now Google knows that that is a subtitle, so it knows to look at it. And what they want, what Google wants, is that your title contains your focus keyword. I'm just going to cancel that text editor there. Your title contains that focus keyword, for me, websites and webinars, or digital marketing courses, or child gymnastics, or whatever it might be. And then it wants your subtitles, at least one of your subtitles, to contain your focus keyword. So if we scroll down here, we can see webcams and webinars is in one of my subtitles. So it wants one of your subtitles to contain a keyword. And then the other subtitles to contain related keywords, synonyms, not cinnamon, synonyms, in that are semantically close to it. So words that relate to it, words that are similar, because it looks at the title and goes, do you know what? Okay, websites and webinars, brilliant. And then it'll look at a subtitle going, hold it a second, websites and webcams and webinars have been mentioned again. So, okay, that's probably what it's about. And then it'll look at other subtitles, and it might be online training, it might be virtual courses, it might be whatever it is. And it's going, hold it a second, because subtitles are important, generally contain important information. And they have all of these words that are very close to the webcams and webinars. Do you know what? This might be about webcams and webinars. So the second place they look is going to be your subtitles. So that structure, subtitle paragraph, is important to help people scan your page and find important information quickly. But also it's important for Google to be able to go, do you know what? I think I know what this page is about. Hopefully this is making sense. If you don't, I do actually have a, I'll send it to Helen with the PDF. But I do actually have a tutorial on H2s, a video tutorial, which I will, on my YouTube channel, which I will send, I can't spell video, which I'll send to Helen as well, so she can circulate that to you guys. And by all means, once you're on there, do check out my YouTube channel. There's quite a lot of stuff about digital marketing in general on there, as well as some things about presenting online. So do check that out. It can be hopefully be useful for you. My YouTube channel's getting a ton of attention at the moment. I've got a video that's just blown up and it's got nearly 5,000 views in the last couple of weeks. It's nuts. Anyway, then our focus keyword needs to appear in the text maybe 2 or 3 times. No more than that, 2 or 3 times. Because again, what Google does, looks at the heading, looks at the subtitles, and then it will look at the text. So you will want whatever your focus keyword is, gymnastics training, compliance, support, whatever it might be, to be represented in the text as well. And then, as much as possible, those related keywords and synonyms in the text. And that will begin, then Google is moving through that and they're going, do you know what? Heading says this, subtitles say these things that are related. The text also say things that are related to it. Hold it a second. Do you know what? Might be that this is about, in this case, webcams and webinars, or about whatever it is that you are trying to, sell to people. All these little bits and pieces are going to make a difference. So I'll show you a system in a minute that can help you with your semantic closeness. Now, a couple of other things, just to mention, to say this is going to be available for you. So this whole course is going to be available for you to look at on YouTube anyway. So that's awesome. So if you need to go back and review any of these things, it's fine. And you know what? If you want to drop me a note or find me on LinkedIn and ask me a question, I don't mind doing that in a small way. But photos, one thing that someone mentioned, a lack of photos. Now photos are good. You want images. You don't want too many on your page because it slows it down. But images work. You want at least one image on each page, or each searchable page in particular. because they're great for your customers, but you can put a little bit of coded information into your photograph as well. So if I click on my photograph here, what I should be able to do is, where is the alt tag? So I normally do this in my, let me find what it is I need to do here. Let's cancel that for a moment. Photo settings, that's that one. Where's alt tag gone? That's annoying. So crop should be somewhere here. I apologize for this one, but you want an alt tag. Where's it gone? In general, give me it. Ah, here we go. Edit, lovely, thank you. So this will depend on your web browser, but you're looking for what's called an alt tag. And if we go to my media library here, which is where all my photographs are kept, when I select this photograph over here, you can see this is the photograph on that page. Over here, you've got what's called alternative text. So when you upload a photograph, depending on the platform you're using, you should be able to edit it and add information to it. So you've got titles, you've got captions, which are nice. But the alt tag here, alternative text it's often called, but the alt text or alt tag, you should, in one of your photos, have your keyword. So in this case, this photograph has now been used in my leadership and management courses. The alt tag was for leadership management courses. So that would be digital marketing courses, websites and webinars. It could be, dog first aid. It could be whatever it might be. But in one photograph, in that little alt tag box over here, you want to be including your focus keyword, because Google will then look at the photograph. And Google can actually recognize photographs. Scarily enough, Google can recognize photographs. So it can look at a photograph and go, do you know what? That photograph is a photograph of a dog, or some nails, or some hair, and it can actually now go and take into consideration the photograph, which is, that's next level stuff. It's been able to do that for about 18 months. But that alt tag, that little piece of text that you can put in the back end of the photograph, that is something that's coded into the photograph and that people can visit. And if you add additional photographs to that page, you can put alt tags in, and what you do in those alt tags is you use the synonyms and related keywords that we've put together, things, like ballroom dancing, samba, rumba, etc., all around it. And that is basically giving Google more and more information. I would be reticent about putting too many photographs on your web page, because they do potentially slow the page down. However, rule of thumb with photographs, they should ideally be JPEGs, JPG format, for the photographs on your page, because they're smaller file sizes anyway, and you should, where possible, try to have it under 100 kilobytes. You don't need a massive high definition photograph on a website, because if they're really big, they do slow the page down. Now, on my WordPress website, I've got a little plugin, a little piece of software called Smush, which basically, when I put a photographs up, smushes it and makes it small and optimizes it for my page. So if you're concerned about that, there are generally things within website builders that will allow you to take those photographs and make them smaller anyway. But it is a JPEG for your general photographs, and a smaller file size as possible, because then it loads really quickly. You don't need a massive 4K high quality photograph on your website. The biggest screen anyone's going to look at it on is a laptop screen anyway, and a normal JPG file that you take on your phone is likely to be absolutely fine. But now what we've got is layers. So we've got the keywords and the title, we've got keywords and related keywords in your subtitles, you've got them in your text, you've got them in the back end of your photographs, and now Google has got a fabulous idea of what that page is about, so it is more likely to be able to produce it high up in a search. Is that followable? Are we reasonably happy with all of that stuff? Anybody got any questions, concerns at all about that, or is it relatively straightforward in terms of what it means? But obviously, Carlton, do you have a question? So you're on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
So sorry, Michael, I didn't know I was actually still on mute. Basically, if my site's being run through a third party, it is something I need to speak to them about to make sure that this is done through the pictures that's already on there.
Yes.
The outtake.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, so maybe I'll do that then.
Yes. It's interesting. I won't say who I was having a conversation with last week about a company that was doing search engine optimization for them. But yes, the thing is that SEO is a very specific skill, and it's a very specific thing that people need to be doing. And quite often, when you have people who develop websites, they are brilliant designers, and they provide a beautiful site for you. Then you have people who are brilliant technicians who provide a brilliant technique for you, a technically good website for you. And you have people who are good at SEO. The fact is, it's rarely that those three people exist in the same person.
Okay.
And the one that is often missing is people's proper understanding of what search engine optimization is. And the thing is that quite often their customer has no idea about search engine optimization either. So they're blithely going on quite happily thinking they're doing a grand job when in fact, actually, those little bits. So yes, by all means, go to that website developer and say, look, how are you putting alt tags? Are you putting H2s in? Are you using? Do you know about semantic closeness? Are you using semantic closeness when you're helping to put SEO onto my text? It will scare the living tobacco juice out of them. But it is important.
That's a certain skill that you don't do, you know.
Yeah, SEO is very specific, and I say it's not one that everyone who designs websites understands. Anyone can design a website. It's quite easy these days, actually. You know, most of you should be able to go onto Wix or Yola or WordPress and create probably a fairly credible website all on your own. But there is more to a good-looking website. Search engine optimization requires a little bit of understanding in terms of how this works, in terms of how the structure works. Sorry, I saw Jackie had a question. Should you put captions in the box under alt? Captions, that's entirely up to you about captions. Captions they don't add to your search engine optimization at all. They're often read by, your alt tag is always one of the things that is read by a voice to text software for people who have visual impairments. So it's a good idea to fill out your alt tag with a sentence about what the page is about, including your keyword anyway, because voice to text will look at the alt tag. The caption itself, that is your choice. Do you think the image itself needs some additional description, some additional value added to it? Then you can pop a caption in, but the caption itself isn't going to have significant any impact at all on search engine optimization. That's more about whether you think you need to give more information about that photograph to the people reviewing the page. It's the alt tag that is the SEO one, which is why I mention it. I mention it now. But the caption, brilliant, but it's not always necessary. If the photograph speaks for itself, let it speak for itself. But if you want to put a little bit of clarification to the photograph, your caption is absolutely the right way to go. So we've got that structure. So we've got the title, the subtitle, paragraph, subtitle, paragraph. And we now think we need to feed those semantically close words through all of our content. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a free to access tool. You get 2 free searches a day from it, but if you give them your email address, you can get 20 free searches. You just get the occasional marketing email from them. But I am going to share, this is LSI Graph. So I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to just go here. Now, LSI graph stands for latent semantic indicator. I don't know what that means either. Well, some of you might do, you know, but I certainly don't, because I'm not really that clever. And what you do, what this does is it gives you related keywords and synonyms. So for instance, if I put in here, I don't know, let's put wedding rings in, and I hit the generate button, what LSI graph does is it will provide closely related keywords to your search. So wedding rings, we've got wedding ring sets, we've got cheap wedding rings for men, unique wedding rings, simple wedding rings, engagement rings. I don't know what this, I'd imagine that's a make of them. Is it wedding rings, a set for men and women? So you begin to get a sense of these related keywords, that semantically close words you can use. Now, if I put, for instance, social media courses in here, social media courses. Oh, my son's playing the piano. That's nice. You probably can't hear it, but it's a nice little background. He's doing a musical theatre degree, and he's doing it from home at the moment because they can't go into college. So our front room is a ballet studio, a tap studio, a singing lesson studio. It can be quite interesting. It doesn't. Thankfully, our house is soundproof enough that it doesn't bleed through to courses that I'm doing. Taking a bit of time here, but yeah, he's upstairs. He's still on half term. He's had 3 flipping weeks, you know, goodness me. Here we go. So social media courses, and again, we've got various things that are similar to or related to social media courses that you could potentially feed into your semantically close words. So LSI graph is a good one to use. There is also, and this is one I know I shared with Joy last week, and there are links to all of these and these slides I'll be sending to Helen anyway, so don't worry too much about it. But I'm going to share with you this one, which is textoptimizer.com with a Z. Sadly, it's American. And what this does, and mine's going to be rubbish, but I'll do my homepage, because homepages aren't meant to be found in searches. So if my score is rubbish, it doesn't matter, because this is the homepage. Your homepage is not something that is search friendly. But this textoptimizer.com, if I put this in, I'm going to copy. Now you can only do this on published pages, unfortunately, but you can always go back and adjust them afterwards. If I hit the go button here, what this does, I'm just moving you out the way, is it tells me how content rich my content is. So that's semantically close words. I've got a very poor score of 10%, but your homepage will never score very well in SEO because it's designed to be very generic. So your SEO pages, the ones you want to be found, these are the ones you'll shove into this particular one. I'll accept all of those cookies. And it will give you here what it kind of thinks the page is about. So media marketing, marketer, marketing activities, okay. Then it'll tell you the words that it's found that relate to it. You might be able to see these are grayed out, these ones. So content marketing, digital marketing, online marketing, blogging. And then it gives you all of these suggestions that you might want to feed into the content to make it more content rich. It's not saying you have to use all of them, and please change these Z's to S's. But you don't have to use all of them, but it gives you an idea of what it thinks are going to be good words to feed into that content to make it more content rich, which means Google understands the page better and therefore can, you know, and shove it out there. So these are ones you might want to include in your subtitles or into your alt text. Someone has popped something in the chat. So let's have a quick look. Questions. Why is your homepage not supposed to be found? Because your homepage, Jackie, is for generic stuff. Now, your homepage is an introduction to your business. It is not something that contains specific information. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. It's not there to share specific information. Your homepage is where you send people to on a business card or a link on a social media page or whatever it might be. And they go to the homepage and get a general idea of what you do, and then they can navigate through the page. But your homepage is generic. So if someone is searching for a specific thing that you do, you know, life coaching, for instance, they're not going to find the homepage, because the homepage will talk about your background and your experience, your qualifications. It'll talk about life coaching. It'll talk about executive coaching. It'll talk about this, that, and the other. It's too generic to be search friendly. But if someone searches life coaching, the page that you've written, which is just about life coaching, is the one that Google will present in the search, because that's the one that's the most relevant. So that's why your homepage is not a search-friendly page. It's not designed to be found in searches. It will never rank very well, because it is designed to be generic and in that respect. Great, thumbs up, lovely, thanks. Still a very important page, because it's the first impression an awful lot of people have of you if you're giving them a link to go to, but it's there to help people move through your website. It's not there to be found. Lovely, okie dokes. Let's have a little look at, right, okay. Yeah, super. So I'm just going to share a PowerPoint screen, so just an element to talk about. We've kind of got the last 25 minutes and I've got to show you this bit here and talk very high level about some other bits and pieces. So this is about what's called long tail keywords. So pages that are going to be found in searches. Now you think about the keywords that you're going to focus on for your pages. Now those keywords are homepage, about us, contact us, you know, those pages, that's what the focus of that page is. But again, like I said, no one is searching contact us in Google. Your pages that you want to be found need to have more specific things in them, such as digital marketing courses, leadership and management courses, you know, COVID safe online training, whatever it might be. These phrases are more specific, and what this slide is showing you is that. So I'm going to click into it. I'm going to make it a bit bigger so you can see this graph better. So this example is giving shoes. So shoes is a very generic keyword or a very, very generic word. It could be any type of shoes that goes on your foot, but it could also be brake shoes. It could be a shoe bill, which is a very ugly bird, which is quite brilliant and fantastic. Look them up, they're great. But shoes is a word that is too generic. So if someone searches shoes, firstly, they haven't decided what they want to do with shoes yet. That is a very basic search term. But you are likely, if you focus just on the word shoes, to be in amongst millions of websites because they're talking very generically about it. Those very, very generic keywords are rubbish for SEO. If people are putting men's shoes in, okay, we're a little bit tighter now. It's still fairly generic, but it's a little bit more specific. So we're likely to get less competition on a keyword like that. However, if our page title, for instance, is red Nike, this is such a horrible phrase to say, red Nike men's running shoes. If someone has typed that, I'm not going to say it again because it's a real old tongue twister, that one. If someone has typed that specifically into Google, it's because they want to buy some red Nike men's running shoes. Yay! Yay me. They want to buy them. If someone's put something that specific in, so if someone has put in online digital marketing courses, it's generally because they want to book onto an online digital marketing course. If someone is interested in, you know, gymnastics lessons for a 6-year-old, it's because they want to book a gymnastics session for a 6-year-old. So these more specific phrases, as much as they are searched for less, if someone has put that in, they're ready to buy. And if your page is constructed around something that's a little bit more detailed, yes, you'll have fewer people find that page, but the people who find the page are the ones who are ready to give you cash. And one of the rules of thumb is that quite often, and it's a mistake that's made in social media as well as websites, people think the volume of people visiting their website is important. If you have 1 million people visit your website and you make 1 sale, is that better than having 100 people visit your website and making 15 sales? It is better to reach a high number of people who care about what you do than a small number of people who care about what you do, rather than a large number of people who don't give 2 hoots about what you do. So when you're thinking about your specific pages, those ones you want for search, having a more detailed header like that, such as, you know, leadership and managed courses online, is going to make a difference, because if people are searching for that, there's going to be fewer websites that you're competing with for that very specific thing. So you're more likely to rank on page 1 because you're just in a smaller group of websites. But also that person is ready to buy from you. And if they pay that page, they find that page, and it's a well-structured page that tells them what they need to do and what they need to do, they are more likely just to hit the buy button or contact us button. So these are called long tail keywords. Now I'm going to show you a really, really funky, cool site that can help you with these long tail keywords, because I'm a lovely person and I want to help you out with this. And it's also a really cool page, and it's one of my favorites. So I'm just going to go share to this one and go here. So this is Answer the Public, one of my favoriteest pages on the internet of all. I mean, this guy, there used to be a really funny old guy who was all grumpy. They got this slightly creepy bloke now who goes, yeah. He puts me off a little bit. Yeah, you put me off, you weirdo. But what Answer the Public does, it's really cool. You know, when you start typing into Google, it does auto-suggest. Yeah, so you start typing something into Google and there's a drop down comes up saying of the phrases you might want. And occasionally when you start typing, actually the very thing you're searching for is close to the top, and you just click on it and you do the search. What Answer the Public does is it monitors those most searched terms. So if I put in here, for instance, and I'm going to put in wedding rings in again, and hit the search. So this, you've got to play around with these search terms to get the best results. And I hit search. What Answer the Public does is it searches Google for all of those most frequently searched terms and returns them for you in a list form. Or well, I'll show you now because we've got it. Brilliant. So this is all the things that people put in on which, when, where, how, are, can, will, why, who about wedding rings. So if we go over here, we can see, I'll zoom in a little bit. Where is wedding rings in the Bible? That's a weird one. How wedding rings are made, how wedding rings are worn. We've got down here, when to order wedding rings. We've got which order wedding rings. Isn't it great, the level of English that people put into Google? How wedding rings should be worn. So we've got all of these terms that are frequently searched. Now, if you do find, I mean, if we scroll down, there's also over here stuff about near, with, for, is, wedding rings, is it biblical? That's actually quite a theme there. If you sell wedding rings, it might be worth actually writing some content, a blog about references to wedding rings in the Bible, because people are actually talking about it. Wedding rings are pagan. There's a kind of an alternate view to the biblical version of wedding rings as well. That's quite interesting that people are searching those things. Wedding rings near Swindon. No, there's the near function. But it goes through all of these things, and these are great for your keyword research for an extent, but also if you're thinking about writing an article or a blog, or you're kind of at a loss for a long tail keyword, you might be able to find some inspiration in here. If you find this a little bit overwhelming, I must say I'm a highly visual person, but even I find this a little bit much. You can just go to the data tab here, and it gives you a list of each of the ones that you do. So you can hit the data and you can see your lists. So Answer the Public is a great way of getting a sense of what people are actually searching for, which is good for things like blog articles. And blogs are great for search engine optimization. And you should be blogging on your website, ideally at least once a month, if not more often. Is it shows Google that you're vibrant, that you're interested, you're providing your customer with new information, that you're up to date and you're trending. But also it means that if you want to talk about something that is very specific, that's a fantastic place to put it. If you know, even more specific, such as, you know, an article about the representations of wedding rings in the Bible versus representations of wedding rings in pagan. I don't know. I need to talk to someone who makes wedding rings to get them to write that article, because I think that is quite fascinating. The fact that we had people going, are wedding rings in the Bible, but other people going, are wedding rings a pagan symbol? There's a discussion to be had, isn't it? That's fantastic. I love that. And you know, you can get that kind of stuff from playing around with some of these systems. You don't have to go that deep into it, but again, it gives you a sense of what people are actually searching for. So when you're thinking about searchable pages, such as your product pages or blogs, which are always your most searchable pages because they can be massively specific, this is here to give you some inspiration and some support. I do love this one. It's so much fun. Awesome. Okay, where am I in terms of my slides? Oh, right, okay, let's just take that off. For a moment, my screen was blank and I thought, oh no! Right, so things to think about: your keywords, your rated keywords, and your synonyms. And you can kind of, if you want to kind of do some research before you even write a page, you can sit down and write some of those things out. And you'll probably better guess quite a lot of these yourselves. You're experts in your field. You know what you're talking about. You know what related words are. You can start working these things in. You have your themes and topics. Your themes are your highline stuff, like your products and services, the about us. The topics are the specific things. So what are your themes? Products and services is a theme. Your topics are the individual things that go in there. So your themes are your high level stuff. Your topics are the searchable specific things. Use your H1s, your H2s as much as possible to kind of let Google know a little bit more about the page, but to guide your customers through it. Include those alt tags. And that is going to help your page structure. That is really going to help things, people recognize things a little bit better. What I have done here, and so you will be getting all of these slides from Helen, but I apologize for this. If there's any people who are artists or designers in the room, this is awful. I apologize, but this is my awful attempt, because you know I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, but this is a little layout of what are the important elements of your page are. So you've got your title with an introduction and a photo, your subtitle, your content, subtitle, content, conclusion, call to action, CTA call to action, and up here focus on the content and the flow of the page. Make sure it flows logically and simply. Important things first, because people rarely get to the bottom of your page. Provide evidence and facts and detail. If you are using evidence and facts, do clarify them with where you got them from. Yes, Jackie, because your social network, sorry, it's a question from Jackie about whether you should be considering SEO when you're writing posts. Yes. Essentially write about one thing and one thing only on a post on a social network. Similarly, for a searchable page on your website, focus on one thing, because if you talk about two things, you're immediately 50% relevant, not 100% relevant. So your social media posts, if you've got two things to talk about, that's two posts. Don't talk about two things at the same time. It dilutes your message. Again, for the person reading it, they're going, well, actually, that second thing's not relevant to me. Why are you showing it to me? And if the thing that's not relevant is the first thing they see, and the thing that's relevant, the second thing they see the first thing and go, this post isn't relevant to me, and they might not get to the important information. So it is important for your social media as well to write very specifically about one thing at a time. Don't try to, you know, it's much better to isolate those things out than put them all together because they become less relevant. So links and media. So internal links, you want to link from a page. So if you're writing a blog about courses, put a link on that blog to the page of the website where the courses are. Your homepage should link to all of your top level pages if you can as well. Make to a point and stick to it. When you're writing content, get to the point, stick to the point, and then just shut up. So I'm here to talk about this. I've talked about it. This is what I want you to do. Don't prevaricate, don't waffle, keep it succinct. Never sacrifice clarity for cleverness. It is better to be clear than clever when you're writing content like this, because people want to they want to understand quickly and simply, and then make a decision because they're keen to move on to the next thing. The average amount of time people spend on a website is 2.5 minutes. That's the average amount of time people spend on a website, 2.5 minutes. So ideally, you've got to think, if someone's spending 2.5 minutes on average on my website, can they find what they need in 2.5 minutes? So challenge yourself on your own website to say, right, I want to get to this product. How quickly can you do it? Be succinct, be clear, don't be clever. In fact, cleverness comes from being succinct and clarity. Simplicity. I'm a big fan of keep it simple, stupid, KISS. Fantastic acronym. It's my favorite one. And Einstein said the following, and Einstein was pretty clever, so listen up. Einstein said, any intelligent idiot can make things bigger and more complicated. It takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction. The thing about simplicity is actually quite complicated to achieve, whereas complexity is dead simple. So think about simplicity, think about elegance, think about that journey that that customer is going to take. Can they get to where you want them to be swiftly and quickly? And once they are where you want them to be, how quickly can they make the decision to buy from you? We've got to keep that kind of thing going. We've got to be simple and clear. Don't try to be clever. Be crystal clear and simple, and it's going to pay dividends to you in the long run. Okay, awesome. How are we doing? Right, excellent. Got those things to talk about. Perfect. And we've got that amount of time. Okay, so right now, wrapping up. I was going to talk about analytics, but I'm not going to get into that today, mainly because of a timing perspective, but I think I've already thrown plenty at you for a 2-hour session. Analytics are important. What I would highly recommend is going to the Google Digital Garage online platform. It's free to access, and it is a fantastic platform for a basic understanding of digital marketing in its entirety. It covers social media, content creation, but also looks at some analytics as well. And there are some fantastic YouTube videos out there as well on analytics. I'm not going to get into that now, simply because I think I've thrown quite a lot at you. We are pressed for time. Obviously, we lost a few minutes anyway, because sadly, Zoom decided to play silly bees. But I kind of want to wrap up in time so I can get you out of here properly. And I'm not losing anything by not sharing the analytics element with you today. Perhaps Helen can invite me back some other time. We can talk about that. Just saying. So some things to help in marketing your website. So social media is an important way to lead people to the website. So make sure you have social media links on your website. This is something someone mentioned right at the beginning. So, and don't put them at the bottom. So many people put their links at the bottom of their website for social networks, which means someone has to get to the bottom of your website to engage with you, and they might not read that far. So have your social media links at the top. Support your website. So actually use the content on your website as inspiration for social media posts. So your blogs, for instance, once you've written a blog, use that as a theme for social media for the week. So take your blog and chop it up into little bits for short videos, for, you know, Canva. Oh, I love Canva. Canva, a graphic design, free graphic design tool, which, you know, allows you to craft things that are the right shape for Facebook and Twitter, etc. Take a quote from your latest blog, shove it on a nice image on Canva, pop it on your Twitter account and say, here's a quote from my latest blog about X. If you'd like to learn more, click on the link. They click on the link, they're on the website, they can read the blog, they go, wow, this person knows what they're talking about. Oh, they sell stuff, and they're on your website. So your website is a great place for inspiration for social media content. The blog to carve up into little bits for a couple of weeks worth of content, but also if you've got those lovely specific pages that talk about the specific things you do, and you say the benefits of, I know Carlton, for instance, has got a massage therapist potentially starting once he's opening up again. So no, the benefits of massaging stress relief, for instance, is what you're talking about on Facebook. And then when you've got people's interest, there's a link that will take them to the page of the website where they can learn more about the massage therapist that works in Carlton's Beauty Therapy Centre, and how to book onto an appointment. And again, you can take inspiration from your website. Google sees your kind of website as a social hub of your whole internet, and Google does monitor the interaction your website gets on social networks. So if you've got a link to a website on Twitter or LinkedIn, for instance, and lots of people are clicking on it, or lots of people are liking it and sharing it, Google can actually monitor that. And it does, in a small way, lift the search engine optimization of that page. So don't think of your website and social media as separate entities. They are synergistic to each other. They should be feeding into each other. Your website should be feeding into your social networks. Your social networks should be feeding back. It's kind of a whole thing that's going to help you reach your customers, get your message across, which is incredibly important. But in the 8 minutes before we finish, I am going to, and I'm going to do this. I don't care. People have already heard me talk about it. People have had one-to-ones with me, probably heard me bang on about it, but it is video content. But I've spoken about video content in terms of social networks to a lot of the people I've done one-to-ones with. But there is specifically what you want to do in terms of your website. Like I said right at the beginning, video on a landing page can increase sales conversion by over 80%. It is absolutely critical. I'm not making eye contact with you at the moment because I am I'm trying to multitask at the moment to get to the right part of YouTube to show you what I'm talking about. But video for your website should come from a site like YouTube or Vimeo, if you're not a big fan of YouTube, although YouTube is still the very, very best place to go. And what you want to do is to create content, video content, which is very easy to do. I will say that go onto my website. There's things about how to upload YouTube videos. There's about how to put the interactive cards on. All of this stuff is very, very simple. And I've now finished vamping, and I'm going to go and show you my screen. But YouTube is particularly good for search engine optimization. Firstly, because YouTube is a Google product. So if you have a YouTube account linked to your website, Google does view that as being a credible source because they like YouTube. So there's a couple of questions there. I'm going to finish the content and I will answer some of those questions afterwards. So I'm just aware that we've got 6 minutes. But this is the back end of a YouTube video. And what you do is you put a title, because YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world and you need to optimize your video for search on YouTube. So what you do is you put a nice clear heading on there which contains a focus keyword. And then you have a little description down here that will contain your focus keyword and some related keywords and synonyms to help YouTube understand what the video is about so it can present it in searches. And then as we come down here into the advanced bit, you can put a list of related keywords and synonyms in as tags. So when someone is searching, hopefully for top tips for better virtual meetings, that this video has, if they search that in there, they will be able to find my YouTube video, which is fantastic. Now, this is where it gets really cool, because here's the little link. If I copy and paste that link onto my web page, and let's say I probably will write a blog. I've done the video first, but I am going to write a blog about 7 top tips for better virtual meetings. So it will be called 7 top tips for better virtual meetings. My web page that I want to be found, whether it's about a product or a service or whatever it might be, I've created that page and it's got a title, Online Digital Marketing Courses, for instance. I then create a YouTube video that is called Online Digital Marketing Courses. I put into the description all the keywords and related stuff. I put here in the tags all the keywords and related stuff. I take this link and I copy and paste it onto my web page. It's generally very, very easy to do, to put a video on a web page. It's either a little box you drop on where you copy and paste the link, or on a lot of WordPress stuff, you can just shove the link in and it does it automatically for you. Now, the cool thing about that is there is a video on your page and your customers like video. Around about, I'm trying to remember the statistic, about 87% of people consider video important in the decision-making process. So they land on your page, there's a video, only needs to be a couple of minutes, does not need to be, you know, a 40-minute epic. And they will look at that, and that video is something that will help them make a decision. However, here's the cool thing, is that when when Google visits that page, that lovely page you've written about it will see, oh, there's a YouTube video here, and it can follow the YouTube link back to YouTube, and it can look at the title. And because the title contains the same focus keyword as the one on your web page, it will go, hold on a second, I think this page might be about this. And then it will look at your description down here, and we'll see related semantically close keywords, those related keywords and synonyms. I obviously want to go and buy myself a cinnamon roll or something. That's it, Tesco, next stop, when I finished here. And then it will look at these tags and go, hold it a second, there's loads of related keywords here as well. And it will actually take all the information from a YouTube video and add it to its understanding of the web page, which means it's even improved your search engine optimization further. So not only have you provided a piece of content that your customers will like, you've also provided Google with more information that it can use about the page from your YouTube video. So I would encourage people to definitely be looking at video as an option. YouTube is for your website and for email marketing. For your social media, your videos need to go directly onto that platform. Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter hate YouTube. If you put a YouTube link on any of those platforms, it will be totally ignored. So if you have a video, you upload the video to YouTube to share on your website and any email marketing that you do. And that same video then gets uploaded directly to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and that is incredibly powerful for your social media. That's a different course perhaps for another time. But video content on your website, streaming from somewhere like YouTube or Vimeo, that link doesn't slow the page down, you see, so it still loads really quickly, is very, very important for the health of your website, for engagement with your customers, and also your search engine optimization. So, right, one thing I will mention that you need to look at, if you've got if you're a local business, which most of you are, if you have a physical location or you look after a specific area, last note to do, get yourself on Google My Business. It's free, it takes 20 minutes, and it gives you a pin on the on Google Maps. But also potentially if someone searches for, you know, I'll use Carlton as an example here, because I mentioned this to him last week, you know, beauty therapist in Broxbourne. If they don't find your website, what you might do on Google My Business is up on the top right-hand panel, which is called the knowledge panel, you might actually get a featured local business. And if you've got your Google My Business up there, it could be that right in the top right-hand corner, because of your Google My Business page, people are looking at that and going, there is someone, you can put buttons on there that means that people book directly in to see you or ask for quotes, whatever it is. So Google My Business, possibly something for another day. So I'll do a good 30 minutes on that, generally in a full day course, but I'm taking what is essentially a 5-hour session and condensing it down into 2 hours for you guys. So that is as much as I have to say here. I'm going to, because it's 12 o'clock and I don't want to hold people back if they need to go. Now, as I say, I'm quite happy to stay for a little bit longer to answer any questions people might have, but if you need to leave, please do. I will be providing Helen with a PDF of the slides, as well as a couple of links I think might be useful and some videos. I say particularly that one. Thank you, Louise. Appreciate that. Particularly that one that talks about H1s and H2s. if you want to get in touch with me, you can find me on LinkedIn. Hey, you can find me on my website, Michael Niles Training Media. Look me up, and I'm more than happy to take a few questions via email. There's only a few of you in the chat. If there were 40 people in this, I would not be offering this out. But I'm more than happy to help out if I can, and amongst the other things that I'm doing. But it just remains for me to say thank you all very much for attending today. I hope it has been a useful and informative session. Have a fabulous week. All the very best with those of you who are going to be reopening soon. Carlton, excellent. Those of you who are going to be seeing real people, yay, which would be absolutely fantastic. But thank you very much for your attendance. All the very best with your websites. If you need to leave now, please feel free to leave, get on with the rest of your day. If you have any questions, I'm quite happy to hang around for another 10 or 15 minutes and field any questions you might have. But otherwise, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. This is
Bye,
waving.
Helen.
Another thing we won't do in meetings when we're back to face-to-face. At the end of the meeting, everyone going, thank you. Have a fantastic day.
Sorry, Michael, can I ask you just one quick question? You said the Canva helps you make your blogs look good. So is that can I just go on? Is it Canva?
C-A-N-V-A. I'll give you a quick look at it if you like. I'll just very quickly show that Canva is a design tool. There's a free version of it. If I just go here, because I use it all the time.
Okay.
And what you're able to do, if I show you my designs here, you're able to create images like this as a background for an online play I'm doing tonight. Wow. And you can do them, that's the right shape for Twitter, for instance, whereas this one is the right shape for Facebook and Instagram. So it enables you to create an image that it can have a quote on it. It can just be a photograph. Keep it as simple as you can. That is the right shape for the platform that you are going to be putting it on. So you can have one for Facebook, one for Twitter, and you know that those images are going to look right. But also you can use them on your websites as well, absolutely.
Thanks for that information, because I did take what you said into account the other day and try to build up the Insta and everything, but I think Canva will help me a bit more with presentation.
Keep it simple, keep it unfussy, but yeah, Canva's great, absolutely.
Okay. But it's nice to speak to you, and thanks a lot, Michael.
No problem. Good seeing you again, Carlton. Take care. All the best.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Thank you. You too. Bye. Thank you.
Michael, can I ask a question?
Of course you can, Jackie.
Thanks. Another one. Should you have a booking page if you can, because that drives traffic, doesn't it? And and is that important for SEO?
It's not important.
It's a costly thing.
It's not important for search engine optimization. Your bookings page is not something that will be recognized in SEO, because again, it's not about anything. But it is important because you want people to be able to take action when they're on your website. So that booking page is, and have a link to that on all of your searchable pages. So, for the life coaching, whatever it might be, to say, if you're interested, click this button and you can book directly in me now. That's great. But the booking page itself is not an SEO factor, but it is a factor in terms of having a website that is easy for people to interact with and they can get to you as quickly as possible.
But for SEO, I thought you said if the site has lots of traffic, that's good, and it
the more
improve
people
its ranking.
If people are spending time on the site, that's always a good thing. But from an SEO perspective, it's unlikely that your booking page will be found in a search. It will be a specific page.
Okay.
But if you have plenty of traffic on your website, you're quite right. Google will then go, do you know what? This is obviously a website that gets a lot of traffic. It's one we should pay attention to.
Okay, thank you. It's been brilliant today. Thank you.
It's good to see you, Jackie. Take care.
Thanks, Jackie. Good to see you, and I'll get back to you on those ballroom things as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.